Coming up in today's food adventure, I'm back in the city I used to call home, Beijing, the capital of China for the last 700 years. So it probably doesn't come as a surprise that there are some pretty old restaurants you can eat at here. So I thought for this video, for an entire day, I'll eat only at restaurants that are at least 100 years old.
Maybe I should title this video, I ate old school Beijing cuisine so you don't have to.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't the case, but get ready to see me not really love most of the dishes I eat today. In any case, get comfy, grab snacks, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.
Hello, and welcome to another Chinese food adventure, and I am back in Beijing, one of my favorite cities, a city that still feels like a second home to me, and it's my absolute favorite time of year. It's currently that very beautiful, very short window of time where the ginkgo trees are yellow, the sky is blue, and it's a crisp 10 degrees. It's just a magical time here in Beijing for me. So as you would have seen in the video intro, today I'm going to be challenging myself for an entire day to only eat at restaurants that are over 100 years old. But the thing is, it's actually not that much of a challenge, especially when you're eating within the second ring road. If you see a map of Beijing, you'll notice it's made up of ring roads. And what's behind me here is actually the second ring road, and it actually follows the line of the old city walls. So the city walls, they're no longer here, but you can imagine everything inside this second ring road on the map represents the old city of Beijing. And it's inside that you'll find places like the Forbidden City, Jingshan Park, Beihai and Hohai, those kind of lakes, the maze-like network of hutongs, and of course countless old school establishments and restaurants serving up this city's most historic cuisine.
So without further ado, let's make our way to breakfast. We're heading to a place with almost 150 years of history, and it's a roughly 15-minute walk inwards from the second ring road.
We have arrived at our breakfast spot. It's this place here. It's called Menkuang Hutong Banyan Luzhu. It was established in, I believe, 1876, and it's one of the most famous places in the entire city to get a dish called luzhu.
So luzhu can be roughly translated as pork stew, and you can see it all stewing away in this massive pot behind the counter there. Every bowl is prepared fresh to order, so to begin, he'll first cut up some bread that should be super flavorful from stewing away in that pot for hours. Then he'll cut up some tofu to add to our bowl too. Then comes the pork in the form of large intestine, cut into bite-sized pieces, as well as pork lung. To top it off, you've got a saucepan of soup from the stew that's poured on top, as well as a generous amount of garlic and coriander. And there we have it, luzhu.
I am so excited to finally try luzhu in Beijing. It's one of the city's most important dishes, and it's actually my first time ever trying it in Beijing itself, even though I lived here for years and years and years. I have had it once before, but funnily enough, in Sydney, which is kind of random. There's a Beijing restaurant there that I took my parents to. We tried it, prepared in a slightly different way. It still had the main ingredients there, but kind of a different format here. Of course, you have that massive pot of bubbling offal there with all the ingredients inside. And the reason why there is so much offal in this, there's actually a story behind it. So this dish originated in the Qing dynasty in the Imperial kitchen. It was a dish served to the emperor, but in that version there was a lot of pork belly inside, which wasn't the most affordable ingredient. So the populace wanted to know and have a taste of what the emperor was eating, so they altered the dish, instead put the cheaper meats inside, like the intestine, the lungs, the bits that, the offcuts of meat. And that's where luzhu comes from. And in my research online, I keep coming across people who are saying, oh, you know, it's got this very strong odor, some people cannot accept it, but for me, the odor is actually quite pleasant. It's sweet, quite garlicky as well. I mean, he's put a whole tablespoon of garlic on top there as well. A slight smell of the offal inside, but it's not too overwhelming. And that broth, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to try this. It's a chilly morning. This looks so warm. Get it in me. Ooh, that's a very pleasant broth. I knew from the look of the soup that it was gonna be a whack banger flavor. I mean, whenever you pick up a spoonful of soup and you cannot see the bottom of your spoon, that's gonna be packing quite a flavor punch. And it does. It's like this extremely rich, almost gravy-like in taste. It's got this intense meatiness to it. It's salty, but it's also got a sweetness that balances that out nicely. And talking of balance, this is quite a rich soup. You've got a lot of coriander in there as well, which really lifts the flavor. And of course, it's also got a garlickiness too. Okay, so we've tried the broth. Now let's try some of these ingredients. First, I'll go in for a piece of this, which I believe is large intestine. Nice texture. Not too chewy. Large intestines is one of those things for me. It's either I love it or I hate it. In this case, I really, really like it because it's not too chewy. It breaks apart quite easily in my mouth. There's nothing worse than having a piece of digestine that just will not break down in your mouth. It doesn't have an aftertaste either, or much of an aftertaste. And yeah, it just has soaked up all the flavors from that soup. It's really rich and intense. I'm starting to feel worried about how I'm gonna finish this bowl of food because it is really, really strong, rich, and hearty. Now I wanna try some of this here, which is actually lung. Very soft. It's pretty much the texture of tofu, but with a meaty taste to it. Again, only the slightest bit of an aftertaste, nothing too intense. And then of course we have some tofu as well. Loving that tofu. And now, actually the part I am most looking forward to is getting to the bottom and finding some of that soaked up bread. Slippery suckers. Hey, here we go. That is really good. It's so interesting because the bread, even though I see that it's been like bubbling away in there for what I can only assume is hours and hours, it isn't soft. It's still got a resistance and it's almost like glutinous in texture actually. It's really kept its shape and its integrity, and the bread has kept its integrity. It's a really morally sound piece of bread. No, this is good. It's definitely for someone with a zhongkou, a strong flavor palette. I fear for those who come from the south and don't have this for breakfast. Maybe just share it between a bigger group of people.
There was this really sweet Beijinger who saw me filming and he came over to have a little chat, after which he brought me over to meet his table of friends.
Oh, 我不喝。哦，好的好的，我可以尝试一下。就来这么一丢丢。
一丢丢北京话都会说。
可以吗？可以可以可以，谢谢你。
干杯！
干杯干杯干杯干杯干杯干杯干杯干杯！谢谢你谢谢。I have missed Beijing so much. People are so friendly and just embrace you. Like my neighbors, when I lived here in the Hutong, they just embraced me like a part of their family. It was so sweet, and like I'm just some random foreigner eating in this restaurant and they're giving me some of their alcohol. I mean, it's 10:49 and I'm about to drink some baijiu, but they say it goes really well with luju, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I mean, what do they say? 入乡随俗. When in Beijing, do as the Beijingers do. Let's get a big mouthful of luju, our guotou. I mean, she's not wrong. It does go well. It's somehow like a palate cleanser because it is such a strong flavor. Wow. It's been quite some time since I've drunk spirits.
Well, this has been an awesome start to our food adventure today. Well, now let's get cracking to our next food stop, which is just right down the road.
Today's video is sponsored by the Insta360 X4. It's the new generation of the X series 360-degree camera that you guys know that I love so, so much. It is always in my camera bag. I'm actually using it to vlog right now. So you may be asking yourselves, Amy, why do I need a 360-degree camera in my life? Well, I'm gonna break it down for you. So reason number one, because this is actually filming 360 degrees at all times, it means I can hold my camera like so, press record, and I can choose after the fact how I frame my shot. I've just gotten home, I'm editing the Insta360 footage, and I want to show you just how customizable it is. So firstly, I can choose absolutely any angle in the world to focus on as the camera is moving. So do I want to look at the sky? Do I want to look at the ground? Do I want to look at myself? In this case, I want to look at myself. Secondly, really cool feature is I can zoom out to keep it a really wide shot, or I can zoom all the way in. Another really cool feature is maybe I decide I want to use this for a vertical footage. No problem, just go up the front here, up the top here, and I've got a vertical picture for short video platforms, but I'm gonna change it back into horizontal because I'm making this video for YouTube. I'm gonna add a little keyframe here and then we're gonna play the video. Nice, I like it. But then maybe I decide I wanna shift the camera around to the front so people can see where exactly I'm walking. So I'm just gonna simply shift to the front, add a keyframe, and now check out the final product. And reason number two, thanks to this 360-degree recording capability, it actually has the power to make this selfie stick invisible. So you can get shots like this, and even like this. I mean, you could basically see this camera as your personal videographer. People are always asking me, who shot this? Who took that photo? Who took that video? It's me, I did, and that's so cool. Also, another thing I'm really excited about this new model of the X series, it's actually 8K footage, so it's gonna be a clearer image, better reframing.
And editing this video together right now, I am absolutely blown away by how clear everything is. This is gonna be an absolute game changer. So yeah, I'm gonna be using the Insta360 X4 to explore old Beijing today as we hop from place to place, eating some of the city's most historic food.
Behold, stop number two, and actually, believe it or not, the most historic restaurant that we will go to in this video. I mean, It's not looking its best right now. There is some construction going on, but the restaurant behind me here actually has around 400 years of history.
It's called 流泉居饭庄, and it was established during the reign of Emperor Longqing around 1567.
I am not here for a meal. It's way too early for that. I'm still digesting that luzhu. It's going to take me some time. I'm actually here for a little snack because even though their menu, it's very much Shandong related dishes, a lot of soy sauce, heavy, rich cuisine. The item I'm here to get is more of a snack. It's the #1 item on their online menu. People are raving about it on social media. It's some kind of red bean bun. 你好，想问一下那个豆沙包从这里买还是外面？哦，好，谢谢。There is actually their own little window for this snack in question. So let's leave the restaurant itself, head around the corner. I mean, this cannot be good for business. Anyway, I've stumbled across the windows.
Since I'm pretty full and it's only me eating, I was able to order just one bun, which cost me 4.5 renminbi.
Let's see what all the fuss is about. So this is the dosha bao in question. Look, I just want to show you. This is literally #1 on their menu. You can see it at the top there. We are going to try it. Open it up. Okay. Ooh, it's really filled with dosha, this one. They have not been cheap in terms of the filling. Let's see how it tastes. Wow, it's really on that line of is this savory or is this sweet? I cannot quite figure it out. There's really, I don't even know if there is sugar in this. Maybe the slightest little bit. Maybe it's slightly leaning towards the sweet side, but it basically tastes like some bread with red bean. I've been thinking about it and I've come to the conclusion that I will only be able to truly appreciate this once it chooses its lane. Is it sweet? Is it savory? Maybe I go home and I put some sugar on this or some honey or something that just gives it that added sweetness and then definitely puts it in the sweets category. Or on the other hand, maybe you get some jalapenos and hot sauce on there and make it into like, I don't know, a beanie burrito-y taco with some salsa. That would also be fire. Because in this form, I just don't know what to make of it. It's a little bit confusing, to be honest.
Okay, now it's time to build some serious hunger. I'm walking directly down this road for about 30 minutes, which will take me to the entrance of Beihai, aka the North Sea. Back in the times of the emperors, entry to this park was strictly forbidden to anyone but the emperor and his family. But about 100 years ago, in 1925, it was open to the public. And yes, while you do have to pay a ticket for entry, it's only 5 renminbi, and in my opinion, a very small price to pay for the privilege to enter a place previously reserved for generations and generations of emperors.
I used to come to this park all the time when I lived in Beijing, and that was also during COVID time, so there were also not so many visitors and tourists to the city. So when I would come to this park and pretty much any other tourist site in Beijing, I'm talking the Forbidden City and Jingshan Park, it would just be me and the attraction. It was just so private and it just felt, it was just me. And now it's Monday and there are just so many tourists. And it's just weird because my memory of Beijing for some reason is just really chill. And I kind of forget, oh yeah, it's like a major tourist city.
And the cool thing is today's lunch spot is actually located inside Beihai Park itself.
Behind me here is a very, very special restaurant here in Beijing. It's actually located within Beihai Park itself. It's the most amazing location. You have the water right here. And because we have that special season with the ginkgo leaves, there's a huge mass photo shoot happening over here as we speak. It's I mean, I wish I had my Actually, you know what? I have my Insta360. Let's have our own photo shoot.
So the cool thing about taking pictures with the Insta360 is it takes a 360-degree snapshot, so you can snap and worry about what angle you like best later.
Anyway, as I was saying, very important restaurant here. It's called Fengshan, which means to imitate the Imperial Cuisine, which is exactly what's going on in here. It was opened in 1925 by a former chef of the Qing Imperial Kitchen, literally someone who would cook for the emperor and his royal family. So for that reason, I am making an exception for today's video challenge. Technically, this is 99 years old, but the food that's been served inside is a lot older than that. And I think this place definitely warrants a mention in our video today.
The entire restaurant is dripping in imperial decadence. For example, all the yellow you can see everywhere. Fun fact, yellow was a color reserved only for the emperor. Only he could wear it or be surrounded by it in such extravagance like you can see here. The tableware here is also very special. It's sourced directly from Jingdezhen, China's porcelain capital, and it's the same as the tableware that was used by the emperor.
Even just looking at this menu is an imperial experience in itself, because every single one of these dishes will have at one time been served to the emperor. So this is Imperial Cuisine, Gongting Cai. That's what it literally means, the cuisine that was served to the emperor and his court.
Gongting Cai is characterized by a rigorous selection of ingredients, attention to preparation, as well as visual presentation.
And I've heard there's actually over 800 dishes on offer here, which is very representative of Imperial cuisine in general. So in 1 week, the emperor would never eat the same dish more than once. And at every single meal, there would be over 100 dishes on offer. And here's the real kicker. The emperor wasn't allowed to eat more than 3 bites of any one dish. And the logic goes, I mean, we all know it, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So it was the same principle, I guess, you know, you didn't want to have influence over the emperor through his favorite food, perhaps. So yeah, 3-bite rule. That definitely will not apply to me today. I will be eating everything that I order. The first dish has actually already arrived and it is so cute and teeny tiny.
This is yundoujuan, literally kidney bean roll. It's a palace delicacy made from, you guessed it, kidney beans, and it was a favorite dish of the Empress Dowager Cixi.
I don't exactly have the best track record when it comes to trying dishes that the Empress Dowager Cixi really liked. There was one in particular that probably one of my least favorite foods in China. It's called the wendouhuang. It's actually the #1 dish that they serve in this restaurant. I did not go for it today, so I decided to go for something in the category, but with a different taste, something that I haven't tried before. So this one is actually made from kidney beans, whereas the wendouhuang is made from peas. And the thing I don't like about the wendouhuang is it's got this taste of pea. It's not really sweet. Actually, it's so not sweet that when I was in Australia and I introduced it to my dad, he thought that it would taste really good with tomato sauce. And somehow that actually improved the taste.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Anyway, not the biggest fan. So hopefully I will like this a little bit more. But in any case, it's just it's so cool to be able to be here, be surrounded by all this yellow color that if I was sitting on this chair, like, I don't know, 200 years ago, I'd probably be executed, and eating foods that the empress and the emperors were eating. And it's such a cool way to explore history through food. And if you squint your eyes, I could kind of be the empress right now. Let's try this. Empress Dowager Cixi, will I finally like one of the dishes that you like? First impression is that it reminds me a lot of the wendouhuang, so it's probably not a good sign. The thing that reminds me of the wendouhuang is it's not so sweet and it has that soft, grainy texture. The sugar inside definitely does help to sweeten it up a bit. So I'd say I do like this more than the wendouhuang, but it's not by much. Hello there, I am popping in from the future. It is 2 days after I filmed the 100-plus-year-old Beijing restaurants video. And the timing of filming this video is really, really perfect because I'm actually in the Forbidden City right now, in fact, in the complex that belonged to Cixi. I'm hosting some group tours at the moment.
And we've been traveling and eating our way through Beijing. I've absolutely loved it, and there will definitely be more tours and trips to come in the future, so I'll keep you posted when I start offering more of them.
Anyway, this is where Cixi spent a lot of her time, and I'm learning a lot about her, and she's a fascinating woman. She's very, very smart. She started off as a concubine of the emperor. She, through several different means, she impressed the emperor, she worked her way up, she managed to get pregnant with the emperor's son, the only son that emperor actually produced. And then over time, she became a very, very powerful woman in China and had basically control of the country for 40 or so years. But anyway, I've just learned a very interesting fact about why she liked snacks like wendouhuang from our tour guide. Check this out.
慈禧太后为什么喜欢这个豌豆黄？因为她岁数大了，50、60岁的时候，她牙口不好啊。这些东西很细嫩，入口即化，好吃啊，好消化呀。有人说是在有一天她在后宫，听有人喊叫卖豌豆黄，她说这什么东西啊？拿进来我尝尝，一尝入口即化，太好吃了。所以说豌豆黄成为了所谓的皇家食品。 慈禧太后老佛爷的专爱。
What a cool piece of food history, but unfortunately I still feel the same way about the dish. Let's see if I like our next dish a little better. It's called 肉末火烧, minced meat with baked bread, and it's another favorite of the Empress Dowager Cixi.
She's actually the one that made it a big deal. So the story goes that she had a dream one night and she dreamed of these beef buns. And she woke up in the morning and her chef was presenting her with a baked beef bun that was very similar to what she ate in her dream. So she rewarded the chef, and until this day, this dish remains and is actually one of the most famous dishes in this restaurant. So basically what we have to do is we've got a little knife here. We're just gonna open up this little bun. The rolls are still a little bit warm, and then we just put in some meat. Oh no, I would not have made a very good empress. This one is a thumbs up for me. I like this. It's a sweet meat. The bun is really nice and soft. And what I really like is on top you have all these sesame seeds, these toasted sesame seeds, which really give it a nice fragrance. It's really delicious. I mean, meat between 2 slices of bread. it's never a bad idea.
What a cool experience. Anyway, time to get out, stretch the legs, and start heading in the direction of the last stop of our food adventure for today. It's a little bit of a distance to get to it, so I'm gonna attach my Insta360 X4 to a share bike and vlog this journey that will get us south of the Forbidden City.
Let's do this. Cycling mode activated. 能走吗？哦，怎么到前门？往前走。这边. Okay, so apparently this way is a no-go. So we are basically gonna go the long way around, but it is the scenic route. That way is gonna take us past the Forbidden City back entrance, if you know what I'm saying. Why did that come out sexual? Yeah, join me as I go for a bike ride. This is another area I would walk around a lot when I was living in Beijing. I'm not very good at taking my eye off where I'm going when cycling, so you guys will have to do this yourself. But if you look to the right, you will see the moat of the Forbidden City. Actually, I'm gonna take you off-road so you can get a better look. It's so pretty here. So here it is here. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is the moat that surrounds the entire Forbidden City. How pretty is it? And fun fact, the soil that they dug out of this to make the moat, they took the soil over there and built Jingshan Hill. So it's not a natural hill or mountain at all. It's completely fake. Beijing is a very flat city. Let's get back on the road. Sorry, Mom and Dad, I know this video is about to make you hella nervous. To our right is the back gate of the Forbidden City. Oh. And to our left is the gate to Jingshan Park. Moment of truth. Are we able to turn right at this intersection and get us to Qianmen, which is where our next stop will be? This guy's going. I think, yeah, it seems we can go. How beautiful is this road? See on the left there, that's where Diok and I got our wedding pictures taken here in Beijing.
Anyway, now all we have to do is follow this road that runs directly next to the Forbidden City for about 20 minutes. You want to talk about old Beijing? Well, you can't really get closer than this. So after a decent ride, we've arrived at Qianmen. It's a walking street right on the central axis that has a long history as a place of business and trade in the old city of Beijing.
Basically every store on this street is 100-plus-year-old something. This one is like 100-plus-year-old hat shop. There's 100-plus-year-old pharmacy, 100-plus-year-old shoe store, silk store, the list goes on. Since the 8th year of the reign of the Emperor Qianfeng in the Qing dynasty. Wow. Okay, so this is what a very, very old shoe store looks like. I mean, it looks kind of modern. Doesn't look too old. Oh, they even have sambas. Oh wait, it's not samba at all. And I cannot make a video about Beijing's old restaurants and not mention this one here. It's called Duichu. And up until the 1700s, it had no name. And the person to give this restaurant its name, get this, was actually the Qianlong Emperor himself. He was coming back to the palace after being outside of the palace. He saw this restaurant, he ate here, he liked it, and he gave it this name, which I just think is so crazy. It was opened in 1738. It's like, it blows my mind. Also, they have the juiciest, biggest shawarma I've ever seen in my life there. Would very much recommend. We're not eating there tonight. We're actually eating somewhere a little bit outside of Qianmen, the main area itself. And it has a specialty there that I've been wanting to try for a while. So here in Beijing, there's a concept known as 八大楼, which means the 8 big restaurants. And all of these restaurants specialize in Shandong cuisine. The reason for that is back in the day in the Qing dynasty, a lot of the Imperial Cuisine or the food that was eaten by the emperor was actually coming from Shandong province. So this is one of the 八大楼, and it's only one of 3 still in business. It was founded in 1842, it says on the sign there.
It's called Jameo. It's a very important restaurant, and back in the day it was super popular because it did its best to replicate dishes from the imperial kitchen. Anyway, this is their star dish here, and the dish I'll be ordering today. It's called 火鱼四吃, one fish cooked 4 ways. I've heard it's quite an intense dish to make, so it took about 30 minutes to arrive on my table, and I have to say it looks gorgeous. On the top left corner we have fried fish. On the top right it's songshuyu, basically sweet and sour deep fried fish. Then on the bottom left, we have soy braised fish head, followed by fish slices in red wine.
The one at this stage I'm most excited to try is this one in the corner, songshuyu, which is one of my favorite fish dishes in China because it's basically deep fried. It's got sweet and sour sauce on it, and this one looks like it has lots of pine nuts on top as well. It's a bit different to other songshuyu I've had before. It's got more of a tomato sauce on top. It almost tastes like Heinz ketchup on top of that fish there. And it could be a little crispier, to be honest. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because it's like a really famous historic restaurant, but it's a little disappointing. Let's try this other deep fried variety. Very crunchy. It's really light and crunchy. The taste itself is pretty flavorless, so I dipped it in this salt here, this dipping salt, and that tasted quite nice. Then we have this one here. Whoa, it is very starchy. Look at this. It's very sweet. Interesting.
The starchiness of the dish isn't really to my taste, and that sauce is just so incredibly sweet.
Oh no, I'm not like loving it. Last but not least, let's try this fish head. Ooh, very soft. It kind of just falls apart.
But again, that sauce is just so starchy.
The fish is nice. You can taste that it's very fresh, but I feel like all of these, except for this deep fried one that doesn't have any flavor added, they're all a little bit too sickly sweet for me. I've had quite a lot of different variants on the Hongshao concept, but never have I had one that is that sweet. And look, I don't know if it's just a taste profile that I'm not used to, or the cuisine that they're trying to imitate or replicate is not really to my taste. But I have had Shandong cuisine before, and I feel like when I've had Shandong cuisine, it's more on the salty and soy sauce side. So that's kind of what I was expecting. This is definitely super, super sweet. I wasn't really expecting this, and I don't want to lie to you guys, but I don't know if I'm actually the biggest fan of this. I'm sorry. Maybe I should title this video, I ate old school Beijing cuisine so you don't have to, because yeah, I was not the biggest fan of a lot of the food today. You know, I have to appreciate, you know, this is a different time we're talking about. This is old school food. Times have changed. My palate has changed. We're all different. But yeah, at the end of the day, my favorite dish of the day was the luzhu.
Which funnily enough was the only dish of the day replicated by local Beijingers and not directly eaten by the emperor, his royal court, or rich people who wanted to experience for themselves what the royals were eating at restaurants like Jameo.
I don't think I would have made a very good empress, because I'm not sure if I would have really loved all of the food, but it was really cool to experience. I have no regrets. I've tried some really interesting things today. And one thing I have definitely enjoyed is using this Insta360 X4. This is an absolute machine. I checked out some of the footage on my phone, and wow, it is just so incredibly clear. I can't wait to play around with it more. But if you'd like to learn more about the Insta360 X4, maybe buy one for yourself, you can check out the link in my description, and it's actually going to be 15% off until the 4th of December for Black Friday sale. So you can check that out, and I will see you next week on my channel. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next week. Bye.